Okay, so want to introduce Brock Martin. Brock is a graduating senior. Sad to see you go. Enjoyed having you around here, but graduating senior from Seneca East High School, Attica, Ohio, and construction management. So I think I'll just kind of maybe start off by, Brock, maybe let you talk a little bit about running back, by the way, all conference and even all American one year. But why don't you start off by kind of talking about kind of why ONU felt, why kind of ONU is the choice for you?
Yeah, so I'd say starting off for me, just kind of the recruiting process in general, coming from a smaller school. Um, Northern reached out to me early on, Coach Paul individually, and that was great. And after visiting the campus a couple times and coming to some practices and a couple games, it really felt like home. And I feel like a lot of guys will say that about a lot of different schools. I visited some other schools, Mount, Heidelberg, different schools in the OAC, and there was something different about Northern the whole time. Meeting with professors, that was another big one. So not just with football, but the professors were great as well. So I guess just that feeling with the team itself, and then I think a couple good examples of that after I got here, and I was fortunate enough to get to play a fifth year football. So yeah, I'm a 5-year college football player, and that's a
Sure.
pretty cool deal. But Coach Paul always talked about just family, and I think one of those is a really good example of that would just be like cookouts and stuff. He'd do that for guys that maybe couldn't go home for Christmas or Easter, things like that. And actually, this Friday we're going to be doing a cookout at his house for all the graduating seniors, which is pretty cool. So yeah, just the phone calls from Coach Paul, keeping up with my high school track meets and wrestling career and all sorts of stuff like that. It wasn't just football. So I think for me, it just really showed that somebody cared about me as an individual and not just as a football player. And I feel
Hey,
like that really helped me turn me into the man I am today. So
if I remember correctly, you were one of those guys that was shot putting and running sprints, right?
yeah,
That's
so
pretty
good
unique. You don't
little
see, you don't see that every day. So that was
yeah,
pretty
good
cool.
little story on that. I used to run the 400-meter dash, and I found out once I hit about 200 pounds in high school, I'm like this 400 isn't working anymore. So I threw with the big guys. So
It's good stuff. Hey, why don't your major, construction management, why don't you talk a little bit about, the professors, a little bit about the curriculum, just a little bit about that experience academically.
yeah, so construction management. Let's see. When I started off, I knew I wanted to play. I knew I wanted to play football. Right? Everybody wants to play football, and you got the opportunity. So take up that opportunity while you're young. So when I came and I visited for football, I was talking about business and all of this stuff, and I ended up switching right over to construction management. I think it was the spring of my senior year. Coach Paul talked with me, talked with the professors, and professors in the construction management department are like no other here at school. I mean, we do cookouts. I mean, I was the grill master for 2 years in a row. Just super personable people. Um, so just getting here with that, I mean, the curriculum, let's see. You start off, I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. I mean, you're getting into just the general stuff with construction, and second and third year you start getting into different software programs that are high end that a lot of companies are using now. That's preparing you for, how we're doing bidding on projects and how we're estimating projects and all of this stuff. So I found out the construction side of it is so important, but the management and the business side of it is huge. And
Really
they do,
kind of coordinate it
yeah,
together, right? You're really kind of getting a
yeah,
little bit of both.
yeah. It's construction management here at Northern. There's so much of an overlap with just the business management side of things. My wife graduated here with a business management degree, and just the correlation between the classes she took and I took, it's crazy. So there's a lot of things that I learned that you know I know the same thing she does, and she came through with a business management degree. So yeah, they do a lot in the business college with the management side of things, so we can run those projects the way they should be in the future, and then also um, just the basic understandings of field work and what we're going to be getting into, and then also computer software and new technologies in the industry because it's ever growing. So
Good.
um,
Good
couple things
stuff.
to add on that. I
Yeah.
guess that was a lot, but so for me, we were looking at moving down to North Carolina. the Charlotte area. We've had some things change with family situations and whatnot. And, I had something set up down there. My professors, they knew a guy that had a small business. He was looking to get me, a small job down there, something with some big national companies, even some international companies. So there was like 3 tiers there of business I could have got into with just the construction industry in general. And when that changed, I mean, just in the last month here, they've been all over it trying to help me out, get stuff lined up back here in Ohio, since we're going to kind of stick around family. And not to mention, we got kids. So, I kind of stick around and take care of the family first. But they've been great about that. One of them offered to bring in some baby clothes and send an email list with personal contacts that I can reach out to at different companies. So it's been great.
Well, the network, as you know, it's a strong network at ONU, particularly with that construction management, faculty, and then their network of alumni, and boy, they'll come through. We see it over and over again. And I know
Yeah.
you've had some good opportunities when you were an undergrad, and some you took advantage of, some you chose to, when you were getting married, to kind of maybe put a pause on something, but that's good. Hey, why don't you talk a little bit? I think one thing I always think about with the construction management is you're a guy, growing up in a farm or grew up in a small town. You definitely had that hands-on kind of ability that fit well within. You did very well with your class. You did well with all your classes. But sometimes when I think about our construction management guys, I think about the curriculum if you would have gone somewhere else. And I think about you would have been fine, but I think like the example, maybe here I'm taking like a CAD class, or I'm designing my dream home, and somewhere else I would have been in a macroeconomics class.
Yeah.
It's just like you would have been fine, but I think you had a lot more fun taking that CAD class. I don't want to speak for you, but it seemed like it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I was hearing a conversation from my wife the other day. She's talking with one of the football players, and he's in business, and just talking about having to take macro. Everybody dreads it. They don't care for that. Any sort of accounting stuff, whatever whatever you're focusing on. And it's one of those classes that's kind of a pain in the butt. So in the process of them doing all of the macro stuff in the business college, as construction guys, I mean, they're trying to get some stuff figured out where we're running drones and we're out in the field, we're surveying and trying to figure out how to get site plan set up. So it's hands-on stuff, which I mean, I personally love. So you weren't just sitting down there at a computer punching numbers. You're out actually getting some experience for what you're going to be in the field. So
absolutely love it. And that's one thing I've always admired about the guys in that major, is the number of you guys in that program that just really like going to class. It just, whether it's the professors being relatable, good, just good down to earth people, the content, the structure, just enjoyable. You hear that over and over again. So pretty cool.
Yes.
Let's talk, kind of change gears, let's talk a little bit about, obviously, private schools are expensive, and, you are a good student, you had some good financial aid and all that, but at the end of the day, it's still expensive. And you were, as a student, trying to keep some of those costs down, and you ended up why don't you talk a little bit about that Res Life opportunity, knowing that, there's never any guarantees for anybody what type of, what type of, things are going to get set up if they come to ONU. But why don't you talk a little bit about how that kind of panned out for you with Residence Life?
Yeah, so for Residence Life, so basically you have a resident assistant, and they take care of like a section of the dorm, kind of a hallway. And then you have like your SRA. They'll kind of work with the RA, and they're going to be taking care of like computer stuff, Excel spreadsheets with residents. And then you have your RDs, resident directors. They're going to oversee the whole building. So through my time here at Northern, I've been an RA and also an RD. So ran a hallway, and then I ran 2 whole buildings with a staff under me. And I was doing that by, I believe it was my junior year, I was an RD. So when I came in as a freshman, I'll be honest, I had no intention of doing anything other than football in school. But just with the connections of being on campus, it allowed me to have an opportunity with that job. And that job was pretty significant for me, because in the beginning of the college search, you notice a bunch of colleges coming close, or, there could be, a $5,000 difference, and it seems pretty substantial. But when I got here, I'm like, this is home. This is where I need to be. So I wasn't super concerned about any of that, because I knew there was opportunities. After meeting a few people, after my freshman year, I applied for a resident assistant position, and that paid for room and board. I got the meal plan and I got my room for free. So it was just like that covered that, and that took a giant chunk off, which actually put me below a lot of other schools that came in at maybe close to the same price or whatever, and that helped me significantly.
Sure.
After that year, I applied to be a resident director. Actually, more got nominated by the actual director of residence life himself, just because I was able to build some connections, and he saw that the leadership coming out of a football player is huge when it comes to different things. So that right there, I think it was a lump sum of almost, I think it was upwards of 20 grand is what I got. And that basically, it was room, board, um, and then I got, I think, 650 points on the
Yeah.
dining dollar thing for poor points, which
Kinds of
you'll learn more
snacks.
about that.
What
Yeah,
kinds of snacks?
it's $650 to spend on food for the semester, which is great, and like a $6,000 stipend.
Yeah. Sign me up. Can I sign up?
Changed a little bit, but
Sure.
it helped me immensely financially those years, and
It's got to look good on the resume, though, too. Obviously, it's
without
a
a doubt.
leadership role, and people, that see that kind of leadership, that's impressive. And I know you had to work for it. It wasn't like you just got, you had to earn it. You got the promotion, all that. But it's just good to know what the options are, and some people may not want to pursue the options, but it's good to know what they are.
Oh, and I got friends too that have went to other schools and whatnot, and whether it's a D3 school or a D2 school, and just talk about their residence life program at their schools, and like the ways that we get compensated here seem to be a lot better than a lot of other ones, and not just residence life. They're hiring in a lot of different buildings. In our sporting facility, they're running, they got people that need to run a desk, or people that have to work at the library. We have Starbucks on campus. So there's people that are, looking for jobs there, and they're applying. So there's a lot of opportunities on the campus, because we're a small school, but we're a small school that still has, almost some Division II size in some aspect. So there's a lot of opportunities for employment, which will help you get through, a lot of things. So
That's a good point, because it's when the school is a little bigger enrollment wise and just the space, it does take, different manpower to operate things. So yeah, it creates opportunities. So good. I guess
Yeah.
the last thing I was just gonna say was, when you think about, you observe different things, is there anything else just that maybe you would add to help somebody in their decision-making process? And you seem like you ended up things worked out for you pretty well. You had a great career in the field. You did great in the classroom. You met your wife. You've got a, baby. Just everything, worked out real well for you. But anything you would pass on just about lessons learned?
Yeah, so I think for me, as I've learned, coming in here, guy is 18 years old. I It's hard to really say this to somebody who's younger than me right now, because I remember being in those shoes. Like, it just seemed like yesterday. Someone's like, enjoy those moments, just really make it count, and you won't believe how soon it's over with. I'm another guy that's going to sit here and tell you the same thing. For me, just the school and the connections, it's been great. It's been phenomenal. And just looking at the recruiting process, just try to see through people, see what's true and what's not. And as somebody who's played 5 years of college football, Coach Paul lived up to everything that he said he was going to do. And I'm not just saying that because he's on the call. I really mean it. His goal was, he wanted us to be good football players, but at the end of the day, he wanted us to be good men. And for me, you can choose a different path. You don't have to get married in college. You don't even have to have a kid. None of that stuff matters. It's whatever you want it to be, but whatever you want it to be can happen at Northern. And that's what I like the most. And just the community in general, with the football coaches, with the tech department being construction management, it's been great. I have a family now, so I'm going to need a good job. I'm not worried about getting a good job, out of Northern. It's going to happen. It's just there. And it can be what you want to make it to be. And I guess my last little tidbit on the recruiting process is, don't get caught up in the flashing lights and the advertisement. I'm a small town kid, grew up on a farm. Hard work was just a part of it. there's not a lot of flashing lights and amazing things that always goes into hard work sometimes. But after the fact, you can look back and you can see all that stuff and how it worked out, and that was the way it's supposed to be. And for me, I tried to look past some of the flashing lights, certain little cool gear, or someone's Twitter feed or Instagram post or whatever, which we do a good job with that here too. But you got to look through it and see people for who they are, see the coaches for who they are, and the community here is, to me, it's pretty unmatched. So that's what I went with, and after 5 years of it, I have to say that I'm impressed and not the least bit disappointed. So
Awesome. Love it. We'll wrap it up right there. I'm gonna hit